Welcome to Chicago's Bravest Stories. This episode brought to you by PSP Academy for your CPAT training. Follow us on social media, our Instagram and Facebook page at trainwithpsp.com.
Calls for prayers after a firefighter is seriously injured while battling a blaze in Lawndale. CBS 2's Jeremy Ross is live at Stache Hospital with more on the first responders' condition. Jeremy.
Well, good evening, Mai. 4 people were displaced in the fire that firefighter was trying to help out with. He remains in the hospital right behind us. That as investigators look into the cause.
Main fire building, rear porch is out, attack of the main fire.
Before 9 this morning, firefighters tried to smother the smoke and flames that spread to 2 buildings on St. Louis Avenue near on
38
Fire was like all on the side of the building, catching on to the house next door. It was started in the back, and the flame was big.
A lot of stuff in the way. The firefighters had a hard time forcing their way in.
2 firefighters were injured in the process. Fire Commissioner Jose Santiago says one emergency responder who was battling the heat and fire had an emergency of his own.
Firefighter Michael Manchester had a medical emergency where he went down, he was unconscious.
Put Michael in your prayers.
Just recently, he opened his eyes and he's able to move. He's in there with his parents.
The good news is from the incident to now, he gained consciousness.
I feel sorry for him, really bad, you know? They risking their lives to save somebody else's life, and I'm just praying for the fire.
This does remind all of us that when that horrific call comes, all of us run away from that danger, that our firefighters here in the city of Chicago run towards it.
Manchester's condition described as between serious to critical. However, they tell us that his condition has since stabilized. Now, the other firefighter suffered a minor injury. That firefighter expected to be okay. Now, the blaze appears to be accidental. However, no specific cause identified just yet. Live outside of Stache Hospital, Jeremy Ross, CBS 2 News.
After hearing that, how'd that make you feel, Mike?
Glad to be here.
Well, after hearing that, we're glad to have you here. Today's guest on Chicago's Bravest Stories is the one and only Mike Manchester. So thank you, Mike, for being on. We had somebody sit in for you last time when we overbooked you, and it kind of worked out okay.
Yeah,
it kind of
sounded
worked out
pretty good.
It worked out all right.
Yeah, that was my fault.
We got you in today. Tell everybody where you at, what you're doing.
Well, my name's Mike Manchester. Everybody knows that. Apparently, you heard it from the news clip. Illegal. I'm at Truck 48 on the first shift. I was, at the time of the accident, I was stationed at Engine 109, also on the first shift. So I've recently moved houses a little over a year ago.
Okay. How long you been with the city?
11 years. I just got my 11th year, December 1st.
Okay. What were you doing prior to getting to joining the fire department? What were you doing?
Well, I just graduated college. I went to Eastern Illinois University, and then I got back from there. It only took me 4.5 years, so, that 5-year deal, that's all bullshit. So so I made my parents really happy. Well, they wanted me to finish in 4, but whatever. It's cool. They're like, we'll take the half year. No big deal. So I did inside sales for a year and a half. And I absolutely hated it. So this called, and they actually called me and started processing me when I was graduating college. So I was in my last semester. So I was like really pumped to do that. And, my dad was really, really, really happy about it. He's like, you're in. He's like, whatever you're doing, just stop, please, because we got to get you in there. We got to do this. And I'm like, you got it. I didn't even know what he was talking about. I had no idea.
And your dad's retired now?
Yeah, he was on the job for 30 years. The cool thing about him is that he was a candidate at 38, and he retired out of 38 as the captain. So, I don't know anybody that does that. Maybe a couple 117 guys, but that's about it. So.
We had one of them on our show. Oh, wait, no, he was in candidate there, but
well, yeah,
he spent the majority of his career there.
Yeah, I would say that. I think he started at 18, I think.
I think you could say he spent his whole career.
Yeah, yeah, for the majority of it. What, 40 years or something like that?
Yeah. So is that what made you want to join the fire department? Was that in your blood already? Or
I wanted to be a fireman since the day my dad came home from the academy. I was 3 years old, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. So I was like, you know what? I got to do this.
Okay. So what year did you come on?
I came on December 1st of 2008. That
Okay.
was my very first day in the academy.
Okay. Are you a medic?
No,
Okay.
just an EMT.
EMT.
Yep.
Okay. What was your academy life like?
It wasn't, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was a big eye opener. I kind of knew since, I got the 401 from my dad that, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be a lot of testing. It's going to be some grueling hours, and you're going to not want to do stuff when you get home. You're not going to want to go, but you got to do it because this is your job.
You never had any prior firefighting or EMT or anything like that,
Nothing.
right?
Just stories I heard from my dad and his buddies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. We heard that clip, and we'll get to that. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the Stache Bash?
So the Stache Bash is for what started off as prostate cancer, and it's still going to stay as a prostate cancer thing because the whole like the mustache for November's, like no shave November, all that good stuff. But this year was different because we've had such an outpouring of cancer on the job that like we wanted to make sure that this one was just solely for us. And if we're going to go that route again, as far as being just for prostate cancer again, I'm cool with that. And I'm sure that's what Jenny wants to do. I'm really, dissatisfied that she's not here, but things happen. We'll I'm sure you guys will have us back on as a pair to just solely talk about that. And I'm just going to kind of give you guys a Cliff Notes version of it because I don't want to screw it up, number one, because, because I'll tell you right now, without her doing everything, like this would be a lost cause. She's like the whole backbone of this. I just here to help her out. Like she runs the thing and she does it. And
you're referring to Jenny Yokas.
Yes, I'm referring to Jenny Yokas. Okay. Yes,
just the beautiful face of the operation. Are you, Mike? Right?
Yeah, it's me. No.
Listen, you're not selling posters or tickets without this mug.
That's right. That's right. That's right. This is the face right here. Except for that mustache, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, without her, I mean, this wouldn't be anything possible. Like we just drunk talked one day at a bar. Well, I was drunk. She was serving me, so she was part of the problem. Whatever.
Was it at Sutherland's?
Yeah, Sutherland's.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So we started there, and then she was just like, "Wouldn't it be so funny if we have a party where all these guys just throw out mustaches and they look like morons?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, I could look like a moron at any given moment." So, but. I was like, yeah. So she called me first thing in the morning and, didn't even let me be hungover. And she's like, we got to get this going. We got to do this. We got to do that. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's go. And that's how it started. I mean, she can share more and she's got way more information than me. But yeah, I mean, she's the backbone of it for sure.
So a couple drinks at Sutherland's and you guys dive right into it.
Yeah,
huh?
we did head first too. Like
God bless you.
We started the ball rolling like the next day. And I think we planned our first one within a matter of a few weeks.
Was Jenny already on the job then?
Yeah, she was a paramedic. Yeah.
I like how you can go to like any firehouse like a couple nights before, or a couple days before it goes on, and people are like, "Hey, are you going to Stache Bash? Yeah. Are you going to Stache Bash?" Like, and everybody's talking about it,
Hey, Steve, let me interrupt you here real quick for a second. Can we just take a minute?
No.
Steven, congratulations on the young guy.
Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, yeah, congrats, buddy.
So Steve missed the last
Tell
episode
us all about your
just had
child.
the kiddo.
It would take quite a while to tell you all about what went down at the hospital, but everybody's at home. Everyone's doing good now. And we're happy to have the little guy, and it's
baby boy.
How
big?
9 pounds 12 ounces.
Oh my God!
21 inches.
That's not even the size of his old man's head. I'll tell you.
So yeah, he's doing good. He's gonna be our little chunker. He eats. So.
Yeah, well, fucking God bless.
I wonder where he gets it from. I don't even know. I'm guilty for that.
There was a fireman by the name of Nick. I won't share his last name, but he said he looked at me. He goes, you and Mike Manchester, you guys are pretty much the same person. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, I was actually just going to say, I want to congratulate Steve on coming back. And this is probably going to be his last episode because Mike is way cooler than Steve is.
Sign me up.
There you go. The problem is Corey can't show up on time. At least he was late this time. At least he brought beer because I gave him such a hard time about it.
Hey, we're drinking beer, guys.
Hey, hell yeah.
Corey did show up on time and managed to still be late. How does that happen?
That's his MO.
It's kind of
How does that happen?
Corey, don't worry. I'm never on time anywhere. But it's called fashionably late, so it's okay.
Man,
I had to do my hair today. It's all good.
Not an issue I have generally. All right, I'm sorry, Vince. Get back to you're doing. Your
were we doing something here? Well, Mike, where did you go right out of the academy? Where was your first assignment?
Engine 109. I went straight out of the academy, and it was a blessing. I really was very.
You got
thankful.
109 out of the academy?
I did. It was one of those.
Steve, how does that happen?
Well, I'm no.
Come on.
It's a family thing. I would never ever lie about it. I'll tell you right now, it wasn't due to my stellar performance in the academy. Let's get that really quick. I could sit there and say, yeah, I did 47 pull-ups. You know, they were really happy. No, I did about 4.7 pull-ups, and that was about it. So,
Where's that at?
which one? The
109?
109. Well, when I first went there, it was at the corner of 24th and Whipple.
Okay.
And there's now they closed that firehouse and they built this new one at 24th and Kedzie. So it's nice. It's a nice house. It's
What neighborhood's that considered?
It's a little village.
Little Village.
Yeah.
Okay. For those people who are listening who aren't privy to those, like Corey.
Yeah. Suburbia land.
So you went to 109.
Wait, hold on a second.
Oh boy.
If we're congratulating me, we gotta
Oh, that's
congratulate
right.
somebody else here.
That's why we
Not
have you
me.
here, Steve.
Me? No, not me.
Somebody got a big promotion the other day.
Well.
Is that right? Isn't that right, Lieutenant?
Lieutenant Corey.
Oh.
How's it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it feels it'd feel a lot better if I got the respect that I deserve. I was waiting for the salute. I was waiting.
Oh, you're getting it.
Here,
You're getting it.
Oh, look at all these salutes I'm getting.
As we speak, there's crossing names outside of American flag up there, and
3 guys and 6 salutes. It's
you can't hear
amazing.
the pipers outside. The pipers right now.
The pipers are going right. They're always going on up here. They're always,
Well, congratulations, Corey.
Thank you, guys. All right, can we quit sucking
I'm
our own
sorry.
dicks here and talk to Mike here for a minute?
All right. Oh shit, Mike's here.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Who's Mike?
So we're at 109 with Mike, right? That's where we're at. All right, where do we go from there, Mike?
I started as a candidate, and I was there for 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Were you the low guy on the totem pole for the whole net? Those 10
So,
years?
I even like to this day, pretty much, I would still be the low guy in the totem pole because it's such a good spot and well sought after by guys that are transferring in that we rarely got candidates. Before I got there, they got 2 more candidates, Cedric Edwards and the beautiful Johnny Godinez, and they were there 3 months prior to me. So them having a candidate was like a godsend because Eddie Negron always told me that, and beautiful Eddie Negron, don't get me wrong, his cooking is phenomenal.
Equally pretty.
Equally. He said he spent, I think, 10 or 11 years before Johnny and Cedric got there. So it was like, he was like, oh my God, I'm getting candidates. This is beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
I went to, I was on at 113's house, and some of the guys had listened to the podcast, and I showed up there. I actually got mandatory that day, and they wanted me to tell the story about about being the new guy. And I can't remember what house this guy was from, but he said that he was a candidate for 20 years or something like that.
I mean,
he was the low guy, and he's like, finally they got a candidate. He goes, finally, after 20 years, I'm tired of carrying that fucking hand can. He's like, for 20 years I've been carrying that hand can.
It's crazy.
So time doesn't change for you if you don't have anybody under you.
Yeah, at least he knew his duty. I mean, it's low guy carries the can. It's a proven thing, but it's also a beautiful thing too. It's like wear that with a badge of pride and honor because you're like, I didn't want anybody after 4 or 5 years. I'm like, I don't want anybody that's got less time than me. I want to be the young guy. So it's like I was the young guy in real life because of my age. Because I think the biggest difference was like of like 8 years, but also the young guy being, I have 8 years on the job and at that time, and I'm like, I'm still the low guy, but I liked it. I think it was pretty cool.
Well,
as the low guy or like as the candidate, like you know your spot, like you know exactly where you fit in. You know exactly what you should know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
And it is like you said, it is kind of a blessing where you can hold on to that for a little while. If you screw up a little bit, you're like, well, I'm the low guy.
Yeah, nobody taught me that. Yeah, it's like, oh, what are you, a 9-year candidate?
Yeah.
Jesus,
Staying in my lane, man. I'm staying in my lane.
The relief chief doesn't know that.
yeah, no kidding. Quit nitpicking, guys. Damn.
Well, let's look back to the academy. What was the hardest thing for you in the academy? Because
Definitely the EMT, because I am just terrible with test taking and stuff. And then I just wasn't getting it, like the whole ABCs thing. And
Did you have to take the national?
what are you doing?
Which one you want?
It's holding up
Oh
here.
no, I mean, if I'll stick with the Allagash, but if I want to do one of those, I'll do one of those. I still got about that
All
much
right,
left.
sorry.
Anyway, the EMT portion was definitely the hardest part for me. Just for I'm learning something brand new. I mean, the whole thing was brand new, but like learning something brand new. Like I never learned how to take a blood pressure before. I never learned how to do a blood sugar. Never learned how to prick somebody with a pin. I'm like, all right, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm squinting as much as the next person is, and I'm not even getting hit with it. So it's like, but I couldn't grasp the whole airway, breathing, circulation thing in that order. I'm like going all over the place, and then finally.
Well, they
Once
just changed the order on you now, too.
I know they did. Now it's, what is it, BAC? So it's like, whatever. I passed. I don't care. So it's like, until I have to do my, my recertification, all that stuff. So
It's not BAC. Just saying.
whatever. It's CAB, BAC.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
How about FU? Whatever.
We got a lot of abbreviations around.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll get part of the alphabet correctly.
No.
But grasping that concept was really tough for me. But once I got that and I was able to put that into perspective, then it wasn't bad at all. So it was like, let's just say I don't want to do it anymore. So it was good. It's the best time of my life. I never want to do again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy because you don't, at least when I first started getting into it, and I know you had some background, Steve, but you don't, at least when I was first getting into it, I didn't traditionally think that there was a lot of medicine going on with firefighting. I had no idea. And I went through, I had trouble going through EMT class too. And looking back, I mean, I couldn't even look back at it because we are so heavy EMS now that I'm like, oh man, EMT class was hard, but if only I would have been working and doing the shit while I was now it's no problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's no problem at all. But in the moment, I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything that I'm doing right now? And then you start working, you're like, oh yeah, there's no fires anymore.
It would almost be to your benefit if they put you on the street.
Yeah.
You got 6 months on the street, and then you studied for the test, and then you sat for the test. At least you would have you'd start wrapping your brain around it the way that you would naturally.
For sure,
Yeah,
absolutely, and you get to do it. You can do it under pressure, and you got people watching you and you're not in such a closed atmosphere. But I mean, it's fine too. They taught us the skills we needed to thrive in on the streets, and that was the thing that I needed the most. I'm a hands-on guy. I needed that stuff. So the way that they taught us in the academy and the way they explained everything was beautiful on both, not only the fire side, but the EMS side that we were talking about right now was very well. Because if they didn't do a good job, I wouldn't be talking to you guys here today. I'd still be wearing a suit and being an asshole downtown somewhere and staring at a computer screen.
We can make way more money.
No, I wouldn't be. I'd be making 150 phone calls a day like, hey, you guys want to go to Career Builder and buy a posting for $419? No. Thank God, this is way cooler.
So what's how were those 10 years? Anything sticking out in that time you did over there?
I mean, I just had the best time of my life at 109, and I'm having as much equal flying at Truck 48 because it's the same guys. I would say it's a different circus. It's the same assholes. Yeah. So it's I get along with everybody handsomely, and I love being there. I love being. I miss 109 all the time, but I get to go there on detail. So it's pick up where you leave off and everything. Right. So, the different officers I went through, everybody's been great. I mean, I never really had a bad person to work with ever. Seriously.
Was your dad still working when you got on?
Yeah,
you got to work with your dad.
He was. I did. I worked with him a few times. Not at the same firehouse, but when he was working the same day I was. And then we had a few fires together too, which was really cool.
How awesome is that?
Wow.
Tell us about one.
Okay,
if you can remember.
So the first one, I was actually detailed to Engine 49, and he actually was getting to go to detail at Truck 33. So they had to move him to Tower 54 because we were going to be at the same firehouse. And it was so he had to make a flip, and we were leaving on a flight to go to, I think, Arizona to play a football game. So we were on the CFD football team, and he was coaching, and I was playing.
So just for the people listening, you guys were going to wind up being at the same firehouse at the same time, so they had to move you.
Yes, because you can't do that. It's not allowed. So
explain why that's not allowed.
So there was this is back in the day. I can't remember the name of the family, but I guess it was 3 sons and a father, and they were all at the same firehouse, and they all caught a fire and they all died. And they had to tell the mother the next morning or whatever that nobody was coming home. So that's been a rule on the CFD per, God, like 18 or early 1900s or something like that. It was, I always forget the name of the rule. And if you guys know,
Well, there's
rule,
a Sullivan Act.
Sullivan Act, that's it.
That they apply to military as well.
Oh, that's what it was. It was the military one, not the fireman.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm not saying that the Sullivan Act isn't derived from the same thing that applies to the firehouse.
No, and that is the same thing, and that's why, because it's called Sullivan Act. And thank you for way to make me look like an idiot. You could have said it, but yeah, that was the gist of it. Is that you can't have family working on the same shift at the same firehouse.
How come your dad moved instead of you?
Because he's a class act. That's why. He's a class act. He's a great guy. But they moved him because he was an officer and I was a fireman, and so I stayed at 49 for the detail, and then his trade was to Truck 33, but then they moved him to Tower 54. It was funny because I think Truck 33 went down for PMs that day, and then 49 had a basement fire, and Tower 54 was first truck there, and I'm down in the basement and I'm helping whoever was on the pipe. I think it was John Grakis at the time. He was on the pipe, and he's like, give me some more line. So I grabbed some more line, and as I'm grabbing more line, I get this big ass shove right in my chest, and I'm like, who is this asshole? I go, hey, and then so then my dad, of course, he takes his helmet off and he puts his face right in front of mine. He goes, hey, and I'm like, oh shit, what's up? So then we went through, and so I thought that was pretty cool. And we had like a few other ones in the 14th Battalion. Again, him on a flip or me on a flip, and then we went to the same fire together. But that was the first one, and that one always stuck out because it was hilarious.
Well, I mean, not very many people get to do that.
No, that was so cool. Definitely cool thing.
Any other memorable moments from your first couple years over there at 109? Any?
My first save was as a candidate. I saved a little girl out of a building.
When was that?
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day.
Christmas Day. No, was it Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? I think it was Christmas Eve. It came in as a carbon monoxide. And for listeners that don't know what our response is, that carbon monoxide is but basically it's an engine company that shows up and they have a meter and they go through, and then you can shut off utilities, they can do whatever, they can call for level 1 if it's over X amount of parts per million on the meter, whatever you have to do. But it came in as a carbon monoxide. And we're sitting in there and we're all singing Christmas carols, and we're being goofy because today's a fun day and it's a weekend and it's kind of a holiday, whatever. And it was Christmas Eve because the parents went out shopping, so they left the two little kids upstairs, and then left the younger boy that's 14, I think, downstairs. They left him in charge of the two, and I don't know if they left a candle or something started on fire. And then I was looking at the building as we're getting out, and some woman's going nuts outside, and I look to the side and out the bathroom window, I seen a puff of smoke coming out the jawless window, and I'm like, look, we have a fire. And this woman, meanwhile, yelling in Spanish. I had no idea what she was saying, and then he told me, he's like, get out, lead out, lead out, lead out, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. And I'm like, I'm a candidate. I don't know really what's going on here. This is probably like my third fire, fourth fire, whatever. But
was any of the words out of her mouth fuego?
You know what? Couldn't even tell. And I'll tell you, and I forgot, it just rained that night, so it froze over. And this woman came out. I think she got a couple words out, but she had no shoes and socks on, and she slipped on the pavement. And I'm telling you, the bottom of her feet were like parallel to the sky. I'll never forget this. It was like slow motion. I'm like, oh my God, that woman's going down. And she did, and clear out. We just kind of slid her across the ice and made our way upstairs. And then my officer tells me, he's like, there's two kids up here. You got to find them. And I go,
so you were leading out at the time?
So he told me to grab a line. So I ran and grabbed the line.
Off the back or the side?
Off the back. I went off the back. I didn't know what we had, what was going on. I didn't know how far. I knew the fire was on the second floor. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go off the back. We have the inch 3/4 on there. So
when you're in doubt like that, off the back, you'll never be right.
You'll never run out of hose.
Never come up short. Never come up short. I mean, my dad's probably gonna listen to this right now and be like, you should have grabbed the crosslink, asshole. I told you crosslink.
Well, we'll have him on later.
I'm sure you will.
So you're actively leading out at this point.
I'm actively leading out. I get to the front door, and my officer goes, give me that line. I got to grab my tank. You got to get upstairs. You got to find these kids. I go, there's kids up there? Like, I don't know. I didn't know. I didn't know Spanish as pretty well as I know it now. But, like, I was kind of missing everything. And I'm like, what? And we were on a variance. Well, we were on a variance because the cook had already left. So
explain that to people who don't understand a variance.
So variance is you're have 4 guys in your rig instead of 5. And what is it? 10 of them per? Oh, what is it per city? Every day per city.
It's like 30.
It's like it's like 30.
We're allowed 30.
Allowed 30 per the union.
The city enforces 30 variances on the fire department.
Yeah. So there, instead of 5 guys, we're a full crew is 5 guys. It was just 4 of us. So it was the engineer, the officer, our hydrant guy, and myself, the pipe guy.
So to basically go up there, the engineer's not going to go in with you.
No, the engineer stays out because he's sending the water and he's making sure that everything's going accordingly to get us water into the building.
So to go search for these kids.
So
at this point in the story, it's just you and
the officer. Yeah, and then the hydrant guy's staying back, waiting to hear if we need to send water. Because right now we're walking up to that door like it's a CO run. So we're gonna have a guy stay back anyway because, just because you send 2 guys in, you have 2 guys staying out, which is the engineer and the fireman. So we went in thinking it was a CO, and me being a candidate, thankfully, I had everything on. Like I had in majority of guys, they show up to a CO. A lot of times, they're not gonna bring their tank because a lot of times it's just a stove or whatever. They should be in full PPE, which is fine, and I would say 80-90% of the guys do. I had mine on, and my officer had his on. So we were able to go to work right away, like no joke. But he had to run back and get more line. As I ran back and got the line, and he went back and got some more because we're like going upstairs. But he just told me, he goes, you know what, give me the pipe. You got to go up and do a search. There's 2 kids up there. And I'm like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, all right, I'm going. So I get up the stairs, I get to the 2nd floor, and
you're still a candidate.
Still a candidate, yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, I got out of the academy. We started in the streets in late June, and this is December. So that's what? July, August, October, November. So it's like 5 months. So it's 5 or 6 months. I'm remembering, what did I learn in the academy? What did my guys teach me? Do a search. Find the door, get inside, right hand search, do what you got to do. So I get lost in a closet that's like 2x3. It's just terrible. And I'm like, what the fuck? God damn, let's go.
All right. Kevin Casey wound up in that pantry, so
yeah,
you're all right.
I'm throwing towels and pillows and all this other crap around. I'm thinking it's everything I touch. It's a kid. No, it's not. It's a kid. No, it's not. So then finally I find the bedroom because there was a stuffed animal which I thought was a child, and I'm like, okay, well, this has got to be it. So I'm inside, and I remember to look to my left, and I saw like the knobs of a crib, and I'm like, okay, this has got to be it. So I'm searching around. One stuffed animal after another. There had to be 1,000 stuffed animals.
How's the visibility at this point?
It's completely down to the floor.
There's probably like 4 stuffed animals, but it felt like 1,000.
Yes, yeah. Let's just This isn't like KB Toys or anything like that. This isn't FAO Schwartz or anything like that. So, but yeah. So then finally, I went underneath the bed, and there was a little girl under there. I'm like, oh my God, I got her. So I remember that I was just kept going in a straight line. So all I had to do was turn around. So I grabbed her. And I literally carried her like a football, just in between my arms, and I'm like crawling through. I finally find the stairs, and I get her down the stairs. And as I'm going down, guys are coming up, which is like, and I'm like, they're like, get out of the way. I'm frantic, and again, keep in mind, we're on a CO call. There's nobody on scene. We had no truck, no ambulance, no chief, nothing. So I'm on the front porch. Second companies are just starting to pull up. So I was like, well, you know what? She's not breathing.
And 109 is a BLS fire rig, too.
BLS fire rig. So there's no ALS stuff, no intubation.
There's no paramedic.
No paramedic, nothing. And so I pull the girl out. I get on the front porch, and I'm, I give her a sternum rub to hopefully, whatever. She's not breathing. So I'm like, how many diseases does a 2-year-old girl quite possibly have? So I gave her mouth to mouth and no barrier or whatever. I know that everybody on listening is like, oh, what an idiot,
whatever, dude, fuck that.
It's a 2-year-old girl. I'm like, that's what I said. That's what I thought of. And then I gave her 2 breaths and a sternum rub, and she popped her eyes open and scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh my gosh, she's alive. So then I got to run. Then I remember that there's ice everywhere, so I had to run through the snow to get, and I finally see an ambulance pull down the side, and I'm like waving. I'm like, oh my God. So they're like, they come out and they come running. I'm like, watch out for the ice. And it was crazy. So I handed her off, and then I grabbed the rest of my stuff, and I went back inside to look for the second one, but I guess they pulled the second kid out, and I crawled right past the second kid, which really like upset me. But that 2-year-old girl's alive to this day. So that was a big thing for me. And that was like, I'm telling you now, hands down, the coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
No kidding.
Hands down.
God bless you, Mike.
I don't think it'd be ever. I don't want to repeat, to tell you the truth, but yeah, it was insane. So it was a lot of fun though. A lot of fun at the end of the day.
It's been so. Where do you go from there? You know, like
I know
you're 5 months
That's
in.
it.
I know. I couldn't. I know. I'm gonna go for another beer. That's for sure. But,
It's not gonna get better at this point. So, Mike, did your pop give you anything like coming in, starting your first day? Did he give you any advice? Give you any pearls of wisdom?
And it's funny you ask, because I actually used one thing that my dad told me, like one tactical thing he told me. He said, if you want to see anything, and he goes, take your helmet off and put your ear to the floor and give yourself a few seconds and take a look. And that's how I actually found that girl, because I found the bed that way. I found the crib that way. I found the array of toys on the ground that way. And I was able to find her because she was underneath the bed, because I put my ear to the floor. And that was like, he said, just take a quick deep breath, calm yourself down, put your ear to the floor, and scan. You can see everything. And I did.
So for all the young firemen out there like myself, we're on our 6th podcast, and this is the 3rd time we've heard that.
Yeah.
This is the 3rd time we heard that, guys.
Kevin said your victims aren't going to be on the walls or the ceiling.
No, they're not. They're going to be on the floor. If you put your ear to the floor, you can see everything. And it's crazy. And and my dad's probably like, he finally listened to me after all these years. He finally listened to me.
Right.
Have you ever told him that?
What's that?
You ever told him that?
Absolutely. That was the first thing I did. I walked in the house, and I was like, and of course he got 3,000 phone calls about it already. And I show it up, and there's my family. So of course somebody was chopping onions at the top of the stairs. I have no idea who it was. but he's like, see, I heard you pull the car. I use your advice. He goes, it's about fucking time, So yeah, it was good. But I value his opinion and everything that I do. I always have a Q&A with him before.
Where was he a fireman?
He was at 38.
Oh,
Yeah, he started out as a candidate at 38. He was there for 17 years. Then he did a little bit of a stint at Truck 22 just to learn a little bit of high rise before he got made, because he was getting made. Then they sent him to the airport, which he absolutely loved. And then and then they sent him back to the 4th District. And then he did his then he got to Truck 36, and then he absolutely loved it. And then he made captain. I never seen somebody so disappointed about me. It's like, I love that spot. I had to go I was at Truck 36. Now I gotta be a captain. So then after captain, he got sent to engine 47. I think that's the one on the south side, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. He's like, I don't know. What's the ambulance there? What's the amble there? He
109 is as far south as I go.
Yeah, it was 47 because it's Truck 30 is the other one there. Yeah, okay. So he loved it there too. I love the guys. He's like, but man, the ride coming from south to north is brutal, and you know that for sure. Yeah. So, but then he got the 38 spot, and he stayed there and retired out of there. I'm actually pretty surprised I would do everything about that too, which was crazy.
I'm not surprised at all. So,
Mike, you played for the CFD football team.
Yeah.
How long did you play for?
5 years.
5 years. You want to talk about the football team at all? Like how it kind of works, or?
It was so much fun, but my body couldn't take it anymore. I was getting beat up, and I woke up like...
Because in your high school days, you were a Crusader, correct?
No.
No. Where'd you go?
God. I was a GT Ram, baby.
You're
GT.
Okay. There you go.
The other school they closed.
They're like closing again or something.
Yeah, they're relocating.
That's it. Okay.
So they turned into DePaul College Prep, and they got a ton of money, probably through DePaul, and they're building a whole new school for them, and it's a beautiful facility. I'm like super jealous, but I loved where I went. I loved the school, and it was great, and I loved being a Ram. It was a lot of fun. Made a ton of friends there. To this day, I'm going out with a few of them this evening, and it's gonna be a good time.
So how does the football team work? Are there tryouts? Is it kind of like a word of mouth thing?
There's no tryouts. It's just you want to play, you can play, and then everybody is a fireman. And at first we didn't have other fire departments joining, but then we got like some kind. I don't know if it was like a rule that we didn't notice, or we got some type of a permission, or if it's just that's the way it was. But then we started letting other fire departments come in and play with us because theirs was so small they couldn't develop a whole team, so they came in and played with us, and then we just turned into some huge family of firemen in the Chicagoland area that all wanted to play football. So it was.
And you guys traveled the country.
All over the country.
What were some of your favorite spots?
Oh my God. Definitely when we played the Phoenix Fire Department, because that was a big rivalry and they were really good. And the trip was awesome. Like, because anywhere warm, it's going to be great.
How does that wind up being a rivalry with Chicago?
There was just a lot of shit talking to begin with, like all over the field and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were like, and pretty much every team was substantially younger than us. So it was like we were already behind the eight ball, but we had so much talent that had just, had been rolling down for years and years and years.
And you guys play the Coppers a lot too, right?
Yeah, we play the Cops every year. And I think by the time I was on there, we pretty much split it up. And they were just like the best team. They're really good. They had some good dudes, but we were awesome too. Like, don't get me wrong, we were well coached. I mean, we had every coach we had had more than one state championship underneath their belt as a coach. So it was like, come on.
So did you transfer out of 109? Like, you put in you picked 4 spots that you wanted?
3.
You picked 3?
3.
And what was your top pick?
So so going into 109 or leaving?
Leaving.
Sorry. Leaving. My top pick was truck 48.
Okay.
Yeah. Truck 48, and then I went truck 26, and then tower. No, I'm sorry. I went truck 48, truck 32, truck 26. That's what it was, because I wanted to cross the floor, but I knew I was already beat. I knew one guy was putting in that had me beat.
So you wanted to go from an engine company to a truck company.
Yeah, I figured.
What was your reasoning for that?
Well, I already had 10 years, and I knew this lieutenant's exam was coming up. I wanted to cross the floor, and don't get me wrong, like, I had multiple opportunities to allow me to cross the floor, and it was great. And it was a good time. Like, they were short of guys on truck 32 at the start when I was there, so I was, they were letting me cross the floor a lot and learn that side.
You had already done a bunch of truck work.
Yeah, for sure. And then you give details and stuff like that. But I wanted to get an everyday occurrence of being on a truck, so that's why I left. And it was a good move, because a couple guys asked me, like, "Hey, we heard you wanted to do something. You want to come over here?" And I was like, "Oh, I wanted to be there since I was 3 years old." And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love 109. It was just like a gift to me, and I to this day, like, those guys will always have a special spot in my heart, because it's like my first spot, and I stayed there for a decade, so it was cool. But I wanted to cross the floor, but truck 48 was the next best thing. I got to see on my shift. I did change daily days, but like I said, like, I got to see all my old guys, and then I worked with these guys a ton too. So I think it was a banner move.
So daily days, for people who are listening, are everybody else's Kelly days.
Kelly days, yeah.
Kelly days.
And they were given to us by
Daily.
Mayor Daly.
All right. Well, let's just jump ahead. Let's go right into this. You want to go to March 3rd, 2018?
Yeah, that was a nightmare. It was,
right.
It was terrible.
So where were you?
I was at 109.
Okay.
A lot of this stuff is what people told me. Due to the hypoxic state, plus all the medication that was pumped into me at the time, I had some pretty massive amnesia. I don't remember going to work that day, so a lot of these questions that you're probably going to ask me, I'm going to have no answer for you. You might get a better opportunity of getting the guys that won the Lambert tree to answer some of these questions for you, but I don't remember anything. Honest to God.
So give us your recollection of so we know that you went to a fire.
Yeah, so we'll backtrack to the day before. So the day before, I do remember I was at the Rosemont Outlets, because I was standing up at a wedding in Mexico, and I was leaving the next day to go to Mexico for this wedding. And my buddy Timmy Naprikowski's on the job too. He got married. He's on squad too. And
he's a beast. I used to train jiu-jitsu with him, and he just folded me like a chair for an hour and a half.
He is.
It was unfucking real.
You didn't know.
And Steve is not built like a chair.
No, not built like Tim Napierkowski either.
No, he's a special human being. He's awesome.
Wreck-It Ralph, if you will.
Wreck-It Ralph is a great terminology. He's we called him. I came in a job with him. We called him Ogre in the academy. Nerds, and he used to yell that. Oh, it was so funny. He's gigantic, and he's like a great human being, and he's super smart, and he's like just a lovable man.
And when he was done kicking my ass, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this is what you did wrong," and like I'm like,
"Yeah,
oh thanks, that really
coach."
hurt."
Yeah.
Can you unfold me down?
Yeah. I'm stuck like this.
Yeah, we came on the job together, and he played offensive tackle for us on the football team too. It was, yeah, I'm glad I was on offense because I didn't want to block him or try to get blocked against him because I lose every time.
So at the beautiful Rosemont Outlets.
Yes, I was at the beautiful Rosemont Outlets, and I had to go back because I was sending pictures of these shirts that I was wearing. I was like, Tim, you like this one? Tim, you like this one? And it was pretty funny. So, but I was home and I was in bed by like 10:30 because I'm like, I got a big day of work tomorrow, and then I got to come home right away, catch this early flight, go to Mexico, and have a good time. So, well, that never happened. So I woke up 5 days later in a hospital, or maybe 3 days later in a hospital bed, and I just
that's how far back your amnesia goes.
I don't know. I was unconscious for those days, and then like those days too. Like people were like, "Oh yeah, we had a full conversation." I go, "Yeah, thanks for telling me. I don't remember that at all." Like it was like the worst blackout I ever had. But it was just terrible. Like it sucked, and I was just in a place that I didn't want to be in. And but Cook County Hospital, they nursed me back to health, and they were awesome.
I was reading that you went to Mount Sinai first.
They stabilized me at Mount Sinai.
Okay.
So they intubated me in the back of the ambo, and then they drove me to Sinai to stabilize me, and then they brought me to county because they were checking to see if I was burned from the inside, and which was negative, which was good. And yeah, it was just. You
remember the crew who took care of you?
I know the crew because they told me it was Jimmy and Dennis. Yeah, those guys are awesome. Ambulance 33. Thank you guys for saving me. And it was great. They were awesome. And Jimmy told me, he goes, dude, you were so sooted up and black. He goes, I had no idea it was you until like 10 minutes after we dropped you off. Like, had no clue, no idea.
That's crazy.
So the day of, what was the call for?
It was a fire.
Okay.
And it was odd. It was not in our actual still. It was in 38 still, but they were on another fire run apparently. So we were first in. And I guess the place was going pretty good. And
what was it? House?
Yeah,
Apartments?
I think it was like a 2 to 3 story. I think it was 2-story apartment building,
okay.
Like a Greystone. I think so. I don't remember.
Yeah, no.
Have you been back to the fire building?
I've been back just to drive by it, but we can't get inside because it's boarded up. Yeah, so but they don't.
I
want
almost
anybody
died
inside.
there.
But yeah. You should let me in. I want to repaint this picture.
Yeah.
So
and then you wake up county. A couple days later.
I remember the first time I woke up. I was like looking at my mom, my dad, and I see them talking to me, and I'm like, I hear them talking to me, like I wasn't like deaf or anything, but I just wasn't grasping the concept that I was all messed up. And then I remember,
and you were all popped up too.
Yeah. But I remember looking at my hands, and they were like just black, and I'm like, yep, I was in a fire. I got messed up in a fire. It's that's like the worst thing I ever imagined, and it was terrible. And
no shit.
What's everybody else's recollection of what happened? So, like, what was your position at that fire?
I was in heel. When heel's second up, when I'm assisting for guys that aren't
hardest job at a fire.
Yeah, I mean you're assisting the pipe man. You're making sure he or she can advance to the seat of the fire and with the nozzle, which is the pipe, and I'm just kind of like trying to get them across and up and down, inside and out, like doorways and stairs and all that good stuff. But they said we were all doing a great job and everything was fine, and then all of a sudden the line stopped moving, and then they came back to find out what was going on. I was down. So, and I don't remember any of that. Like I said, I don't even remember going to fire. This is all through people that told me what happened.
Right.
So.
You trying to piece it together.
So who were the guys that eventually found you?
It was Max, Dave, and it was who else was there? I mean, there was like it was a whole group of people apparently just all kind of.
Was it the truck, the guys on the truck, or the guys on the engine?
So Captain Ludwig was on the engine that day. Our actual captain was on either daily or furlough, and he found me. Max found me, Dave found me, and then Jesse found me, who was on the truck too. So it was like I went down.
So everybody kind of converged on you at the same time.
Yeah, they said I was like, I heard, I went to the awards thing, and they said that I was like underneath some rubble or whatever, but apparently I went down in front of like 4 people. So that was like, they knew right away. Call the Mayday, get them out of here. So, and that was it.
So the Mayday was called, but the RIT team never got to you? Because those guys that were standing right there.
So the RIT team was deployed, but they were deployed, and I guess the RIT team, and again, this is what everybody's been telling me, the RIT team like was I don't even know if they were on scene yet, because it happened real quick.
Yeah.
So
because you don't get in the city, you don't get a RIT team until it's a working fire.
Correct.
So you guys 109 gets there, and the officer says, "Okay, yeah, we got a working fire." Now the RIT team's getting dispatched either from quarters or on the air.
Yeah, and I don't remember who the RIT team was. But I heard that some squad guys had a hand on me, some guys from RIT had a hand on me, the truck had a hand on me. Like, it was just a lot of everybody that just
Well, you didn't call in your own Mayday. You know,
No.
like they came across you.
No,
God knows like what was, you know,
Yeah, exactly. So
when it happened.
yeah,
you might have been down for 5-10
and
minutes.
I've heard I've heard stories from everybody, and they all kind of correlate to the
Jive
same.
together?
Yeah. Okay, so but it's like, yeah, but it's part of the job, and apparently this happens to guys. So it's like, I haven't heard it happen to many people, but I'm special. So
So Mike, did they ever find out? Did you ever get a diagnosis of why you went down?
Well, the smoke inhalation is what it is. That's what it came out to being, per my doctor at County, who was just absolutely phenomenal. So he was a great guy. And he's just a big Greek, massive, awesome man. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah, we had him
burn guy.
we had him in paramedic school, and he loves firemen. He thinks we're like the coolest people.
Not only does he love us, but his wife loves us 30 times more than him. So like, and I've been trying
gross,
to like,
Mike.
but he told me that. So he's like, we've been trying to get his kids over to the Firehouse and stuff like that, and have him and his wife have lunch or dinner with us and stuff. So it's been, but he's been like going out of town, and then the one time he was at Easter and he's Greek, so it's like that's a big thing for him. So yeah, so he's but even though the best part about him was that he ran the place, and he ran it with like a sledgehammer in his hand. Like everybody bowed down to him. He was the man, and he never steered my parents wrong. He never gave them like any bullshit or any, well, this. He said, this is how it is. I'm sending him home at this time. It's going to be this date. And I'll tell you right now, he was right the whole time. Like, he was correct the whole time. Yeah. So.
Yeah, he's. I actually just threw away his business card. I was looking through all this old dumb shit that I had. Yeah, like that.
Hey,
honestly,
I'll make a
that
phone call
would
for
be
you
a
guys.
guy.
He's great.
That would be a great guy to have.
He
on
took
here.
us in as paramedic students. Corey and I went to Malcolm X, and he took us in as
University.
Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah. He's. Yeah. Well, let's
With
call
an
him
I?
Dr. P.
Dr. P.
Yeah, we'll call him Dr. P.
And just a phenomenal dude.
Dude, he was out of control. We would go to we do our clinicals at different places. We went to County, Masonic, all those, USC and all that shit. And I remember going to County and we had boxes that we had to check off. So it was like, you have to do a burn clinical here, you have to do an ICU clinical here. And at least for me, I'm sure yours wasn't much different, but I went into the burn center, and it was this guy, the doc, and I'm talking to him, and he's like, oh man, you guys are great. He's like, what are you trying to do? You gonna be a fireman or whatever? I'm like, I'm in paramedic school right now. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. He's like, come on, we got some motherfuckers to deal with. And I'm like, all right, man, what's up? And so we went into we got all gowned up, did our scrubbing down in the OR. And I remember going in, and he was just like looking around. You can't tell because they're all wearing masks.
Yeah.
And he's got the gang of nurses and techs are helping out. And I remember it was real quiet, and he's like, yeah, this guy got burned. Like, he did a full case study thing on what was going on with the guy. He's like, this guy was fucked up. He was in a fire from this, and this. I'm like, oh, okay. He's got these injuries. I'm like, oh, cool. He's like, so you ready? I'm like, I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess. And like he
Ready for what?
Yeah. So he just puts on, like back when Bluetooth speakers are new, he puts on like just like Slipknot,
Slipknot,
like all kinds of
Mudvayne, like,
he
yeah.
is, yeah.
Get outta here.
Yeah, and he is just
He's a metalhead. I
losing
love
his
it.
mind in the like I just remember like again, like at a like I mean priests are a little bit higher up there, but like docs mostly, I'm like, oh, like, sir, and I just remember like in the middle of this thing, we were doing this thing where like you shave the skin off of a different area of the body, and then you run it through the cheese grater or whatever to kind of like spread it out, industry term says, and and like to graft the skin onto the area.
Yeah, I heard that's painful.
Yeah,
scrubbing and stuff.
Yeah, and he was dicking around. It was great. Like he was just very low key and fun about the whole thing. I'm like, holy shit, man! Like this guy went to at least 8 times the amount of college that I did.
Right. And like you're in the place where you could learn humility in seconds.
Yeah.
You walk into a place like the burn unit at Cook County, you don't know how good you got it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how good your life is.
Absolutely, and that goes back to like I was getting very, very anxious to get out of the hospital, and it was like probably like around my 10th day, and I wanted out like bad, and like but then I was brought to my attention that there was other people on this floor that were not getting out, and they probably weren't going to get out, and they were probably going to die, and like like my old man said, he goes, there's a woman that tried to save her Christmas tree, and like and you guys may or may not edit it, but it's like this woman got burned like good 80% of her body, like totally messed up. He's like, she may never leave here, and you get to go home. He goes, so quit your bitching and let's get this shit out. Let's get this shit on the roll. Let's go.
That's the good Catholic that sent you to Gordon Tech, like telling you like, hey,
So how long were you?
Count your blessings. Yeah, exactly.
How long were you intubated for, Mike?
Well, I don't know. I want to say in the range of 3 days, maybe. I want to say 3. I could be wrong. It could be more. I don't think it's any less than 3 because...
Was it more like a precaution because they weren't sure if you got burnt or not?
It was a precaution to save the trachea because they,
just in case you
potential
were.
Unfortunately, we lost the fireman because of that, Herbie Johnson, and that was the big thing that everybody had in their mind. Like, we are going to intubate this fucking guy, and we are not taking it out until we know damn sure it's not going to swell up. And thank God.
So that was a pretty evasive thing that Denny and Jimmy did to you.
Yes, they did it right away
to protect that airway for you.
And they IO'd me, which I didn't
Did
feel
they
that
really?
either. Yeah,
They IO'd you?
They IO'd me too, and it was. So I remember. I don't know. I know. I think about it. I remember seeing the scab, and I was looking at it, and I go, "Did they IO me?" My dad goes, "Yeah." I go, "Motherfucker."
So
I'm like, chalk it up on the list.
Well, you got to think about that's an oh shit moment for any medic.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
Denny, you, and then they're gonna have
yeah, but
you.
Those two, they probably did it with a smile on their face, like,
well,
here we go.
Yeah, they were like, he had this one coming.
Yeah, but see, the thing was, is that again, like Jimmy didn't even know it was me. He didn't. He tells me all the time because I did not know that was you. He goes, maybe I would have been a little bit more gingerly on that IO. And I said, no, I wanted you to do that.
And you don't know. Like, it might have been good that he had those blinders on.
I agree.
Like, hey,
I
this is one of the guys. I don't know who it is, but bam, I got to go to work.
Yeah, I remember he said I remember he told me he was ripping my boots off and just wailing them over the top of his head, like whoosh, whoosh, and then getting all my stuff off me because they said the response from you getting out of the building for everybody like coming on scene all at once was like the blink of an eye. And then they had you, the ambulance didn't, he's like, we didn't even have a chance to like put the brakes on. We got you in the ambulance right away, bing, 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 boom. And they had me out of my equipment right away. And everybody did a phenomenal job. And as I'm saying it right now, a million thank yous for everybody that was on scene that did that and visited me and showed me, and basically showed my family so much love. Like, forget me. They showed me love by insulting me, which is great.
We'll get to that.
Per usual. But
we'll get to that.
But the outpouring of support and love that they showed, like my mom, my dad, and my sisters and everybody just was phenomenal.
Well, it's
your brother's keeper.
It's kind of amazing that
I agree.
They didn't know who you were, and it didn't really matter at that moment, like who you were. They knew that one of us was down, and they just got to work.
Spring into action.
So then, all right, you're sent home. How long were you at home for?
Well, I actually stayed at my parents' house because, they said it's going to take me a while to wean off of all the medication, which I mean, I'm telling you right now, I got out of there and I was like, am I going to be able to think like regularly again? Like you could tell. So I inherited the nickname 10-Second Tom because and
You know
I-
what?
and
You
the
don't
guy-
you don't need to explain. It's good. It's good word salad.
and the guys that are listening, I hope to God they do, because I know my friend Larry gave me 10-Second Tom. Joe Trampus was like, "Oh my God, your brain is mush."
It's from that movie, right?
Yeah,
The,
it's like God,
where
it
they're in
was-
Hawaii.
Yeah, it's the Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
Where she can't remember anything.
1,000 dates or
Yeah,
50 first dates.
50 first dates. Yeah. So
10-second
So
Tom.
yeah, it's like, hi, I'm Tom. He can't remember past 10 seconds. Well, that was me, and it's crazy. And to this day, I still feel the effects of it.
Do you
too.
really?
Absolutely. I definitely do. And it took me a while, and it was very tough to remember a lot of stuff. I mean, like I said before, I'm a terrible test taker for like to begin with, but it was another challenge for me studying for this lieutenant's exam that we just took, and that was a very tough thing for me. And I know that my maybe because I'm older too, that could be another thing as well. But I feel like it did mess me up a little bit. But we all have phones, we all have things to write on. Like, just put it in a calendar, you'll be all right. It's the most things, but that's okay.
Well, one guy was credited with pulling you out to the point where he got the highest award that you.
Three guys got the highest award.
They gave him to 3 people.
Yes, they did.
Good.
Yeah, and I wish everybody could on the fire ground could have gotten that award, because without one person, I don't think we would be talking right now. Everybody put forth such a good effort on saving my ass that it was like, I think everybody should have gotten the labor tree for sure.
And at what point were you released back to go to work?
So right when I got released back to work, I actually had a furlough. So I spent another 18 days off of shift, because they sent me back to work, and then the very next day I went on furlough. So it actually worked out perfect. So I think it was March 3rd was when I laid up, apparently, and then I think I went back to work after furlough was May 5th, and yes, it was only gone for like 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 13 days total, you said, in the hospital?
Yeah, I think 10 to 13. I don't remember. It's whatever.
Yeah, we were right.
I think
it was like 4 beers ago. We I mean, we were talking. So me and Mike were
It
talking
was
at
the
the bar.
12th. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking at the bar, and I'm like, my 2 kids came out, and they were atom bombs, each one of them. And my wife, she got released a day later, and like, this fucking guy spent like 13 days in the hospital. Like, it's not like, oh, like my finger still hurts, I'm gonna need another day or 2 to hang out. You were there for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
What was all right? You go back to work. What was the? I know they busted your balls.
Oh man.
Oh,
Walk in the door. What was the best ball bust? They're like, oh, do you guys want to help? You want me to give you a hand to the door? Do you want us to examine the rig? I'll show you the rig around. I know you're the new guy. And
like relentless, like right out the gate. And I wouldn't have had it any other way.
That's how they show that they care about you. They love you. They're glad you're okay.
Yeah. They're like, and then they're like, you're on fucking watch today. You got to do the dishes today. When are you gonna start cooking again? It was hilarious. And then the best thing was when so that first day was actually really quiet. With him we had a few runs, no fire runs at all actually, but we had like maybe an automatic alarm or two, maybe to Mount Sinai and the gardens. Yeah,
You had to rekindle at the very house that you had your Mayday at.
2 months later.
So I mean, it was very bittersweet to get back to work, and I'm glad it was like, get back to work, get back to doing what you got to do, and then the very next day, right out the door for a still in box, it was like, no, it's 211, 3 buildings going around the block from the firehouse at like maybe 1 or 2 in the morning. And I remember my captain at the time was Roy Dean, and I'm crawling on the hallway, I'm leading out the third line, and we're going to the second building, and we're going up the stairs. I'm crawling on the street, and crawling on the hallway. I could see the fire at the end of the thing, and right when I get there, he grabs me by the foot and he gives me a big yank, and I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Business as usual, kid." And I just started dying laughing. So we knocked the thing out, or whatever. We're ventilating and everything like that, and the smoke clears and everything like that. And what you do is after the smoke clears, and your officer deems it to be safe to breathe the air that's in there, you guys can doff your masks. And we did that. And then then some more smoke started to like kind of lip around from the other building next door. It was getting back in. And then I remember my captain going, he goes, "Hey kid, why don't you put that mask back on? Make me feel safe." I go, "You got it, buddy." It was just so funny. We were just laughing our ass off the whole time. But yeah, it was good. But it was, you could always feel the love at 119.
I was told. So, I had worked with a guy that was there for a very long time at another house, and he called it the House of Hate.
Yeah, it was well, no, 38's the House of Hate. So we call 109 a House of Love. We're all loving each other. And then 38 a House of Hate.
Well, I don't know. I mean, now that they have an ambulance there's got to be a little more love going around.
Right? Yeah.
I saw the
more love for the engine than the truck, for sure.
I saw the Christmas card. That was hands down one of the funniest things I've seen.
Dude, that thing was just a stroke of genius right there. It was beautiful. And if
and there's some handsome men in that photo.
I concur. I concur.
A mustachioed Michael.
There was a lot of mustaches and a lot of man in there.
Couple no sleeves.
Yeah, one of the biggest like ball busts that we'll do by us is like, like you were saying, you're busting balls on the guys that are that you like, and I mean all the guys, and like one of the biggest ball busts that we'll do to each other is like if someone does something that we're like, "Oh, fucking nice job" or whatever, we're like, "Thank you for your service."
No, of
and
course.
Every time you throw out the "thank you for your service,"
it's
like
great.
Okay,
Everybody laughs.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Oh yeah, it's totally. It's good. And then I like when everybody tries to put themselves a pat on the back or whatever. I said, "You're only as good as your last fire, kid. Don't worry about it." It's so funny. You're only as good as your last fire.
Any last thoughts?
Well, Mike, we kind of been asking everybody this question. You might be the youngest guy we've asked this question to so far.
Sweet.
But if you had a group of young, aspiring firefighter, paramedics or firefighter EMTs sitting in front of you, they're getting ready to come out of the academy. With your experiences, what are you going to tell them?
Number one, be aggressive. Don't let up. Don't second. You want to do a second chance thought. Do it after an aggressive move. I was taught that by a lot of old firemen. I was taught that by my dad. Be aggressive. If you're gonna make a mistake, make it an aggressive one. If it's anything like taking out a window, ripping out a door, doing a search, whatever, make it aggressive and do it on your own. Don't forget your training. That's another one. And always stay abreast to your training and make sure that you know your stuff and you know what's going on. And if you're a candidate, you better be the first one done from dinner, and you better be doing dishes, and you better be the one doing all the cleaning and everything like that, because they will rip you new assholes. So I would say that. But remember, you're the new guy. Just
do the right thing.
Be the new guy. Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
That's it. If you do the right thing and you do it aggressively, you can never go wrong.
All right, well, Mike, thanks.
And ear to the floor.
Hey, Mike, real quick. All right, so Noah hasn't been. You're not the 40-year guy, but best ball bus you've ever gotten, or given or got.
Okay, you guys will love this one.
Man, I knew this was going to be the guy.
So I inherited.
He's been waiting for you, Mike.
I inherited a nickname at my old house at 109, and a veteran by the name of Bobby Herrera. Guys, probably one of the best, might be the best fireman I ever worked with. He started calling me Boychester. I go, Boychester? He's like, "Yeah, your dad's Manchester. You'll always be Boychester." So that was the biggest jag, I think, on it. So yeah. So and then that name is just ridden the days out with me. Everybody calls me Boychester.
Well, you just multiplied that by 100.
And it's okay.
On this podcast.
And I'm proud to be a Boychester. So.
Corey, I'm so glad you interrupted me.
Oh my God.
It's probably the biggest ball bust ever. Yeah, that's got to be.
I'm still laughing at 10-second Tom.
Yeah, that's another good one. Who gave me that? It was I think it said Joe Trampus gave me that one. Yeah, him and my buddy Larry from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yeah, he did too. But when everybody hears the 10-second Tom, we're just like, "Oh my God, that's fucking great!" But the Boychester is definitely it, and
it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, thanks for coming on the show. We're glad we got to hook up and talk about your stuff. For those of you out there, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Go to our YouTube channel, go over to that little bell, hit the subscribe button. If you don't have an account, use your Google account, make an account. Again, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, pretty much anywhere you can find a podcast. Listen to us, subscribe to us, and thanks again for listening.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Find us on Facebook and Instagram. You can download this episode on iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and TuneIn. Thanks for joining us.
We'd also like to thank the Missing Chums for their musical contribution to the podcast with the song Yes You May.
Hey guys, if you're a first responder or you know a first responder that has a story to tell, we'd love to hear it. Please reach out to us at Chicago's Bravest Stories on Facebook or Instagram.
Hey everybody, it's Steve here. I'd like to talk to you about another awesome company that helps bring the podcast to you free of charge. Chicagoland CPR. It's a first responder owned and operated CPR company. As a first responder myself, I can't express to you enough how important CPR training is for everybody in the community. They offer real customizable world-class education for all their clients. They have a combined 30 plus years of field experience as fire service and EMS educators throughout the Chicagoland area. Chicagoland CPR is extremely focused on providing real-world, no-fluff education, and the main focus is on organization, an engaged classroom, working with students to completely understand the material, getting your certificates out on time, and most importantly, coming to your facility. They offer a wide variety of American Heart Association classes, CPR, First Aid, AED, ACLS, PALS, and a full complement of StarGuard Elite, Lifeguard, and Aquatic Safety classes. Our clients include nursing homes, hospitals, long-term care facilities, fire departments, schools, park districts, coaching staffs, and many other groups throughout the communities. If you're interested in hosting a class at your facility for your employees, or you have any questions about services and pricing, contact Chicagoland CPR. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, the World Wide Web. I can't express to you, again, how important CPR and first aid training is. They want to hear from you soon. Give them a call, find them. Let's set you up a class to help save some lives.
Also sponsored by Chicagoland Event Medical Services, we are a first responder, owned and operated first aid and emergency medical service provider. Our mission is to protect the lives and well-being of event patrons all over the state of Illinois by providing professional and experienced career EMS practitioners in an event setting. Our services are completely customizable to the needs of our customers. Our business was born out of a necessity to provide competent health care providers to both large and small events. We do this by bringing firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, nurses, lifeguards, first aid tents. We also customize your own site safety and emergency response plan, and that information will always be available to your staff. We pride ourselves on providing the best patient care possible to your events.